Hey miners, my name is Jeremiah and you're watching the Blocking Dead YouTube channel. I'm starting this channel out just to kind of give back. I started mining January of 2020 and it's been an adventure. I started out small, watched a lot of YouTube videos which helped me out tremendously, and I'm hoping I can give back, cover some of the things I hadn't seen covered, and mainly, you know, people are talking about mining is dead or soon to be dead. I like to think of it as undead. So one of the things I'm going to be pushing for is maximum efficiency. First task at hand, getting the heat from my mining rigs pumped into my house. As long as I'm paying for the electricity and as long as those rigs are paying me, might as well get some heat out of the deal. It's winter, it's Wisconsin, it is snowing, and I think we're in the 30s, which is pretty dang warm. You know, it was in the teens, sub-zero. Hey, my dog's here. Hey, Opie, come to join. So anyways, I'm going to take you through my processes. Sorry, my pooch was pawing at me here. Anyways, we're going to get efficiency brought up as much as possible. I might be swapping out some of my cards maybe in the near future, but for now I'm happy with what I got. I'm just going to keep mining until the bitter end, and then beyond. I plan to stay in this for a while. One of the ways I've increased efficiency is like on my RX 580s, they're not the most efficient cards, but still, if you mine Ethereum, trade it for Bitcoin, it's still more efficient than even the best ASIC miners. So that's one way. The other way is obviously trapping the heat. Summer's going to be a whole different story. We'll cross that bridge when it gets there, but I think mining's going to be around for a while. I think the merge is delayed, and cross fingers on that one. So stick with me. I'll show you what I got in the works. Okay, let me show you what I'm working with here. So I have my cards. As you can see, I can no longer stuff these cards into a tent. They're just kind of flowing out. But I'm able to catch the cold air from outside. It's probably in the teens tonight, Fahrenheit. Cold air coming in from outside, running down this tube, runs into the back of the tent there, and it's doing a pretty good job. I mean, it just flows in naturally because I have this fan. I have my furnace fan on. That's my return duct. I'm actually sucking some of the heat out through that, but it's barely enough to keep the basement cool. I got upstairs it's 68. It's in the teens outside, and here it is 81 to 83 in the basement. It's 81 right now because I got the door open. That another way I can get heat up to the top there. But anyway, so the cold air is coming in the back. It's getting pulled by these fans through these 580s. Back here, these are all my 30 series non-LHR cards. I'm blowing the cold air across the cards out the front. It's working great. And the cards are staying cool. I've got no complaints with that. There's 9 1660s, and then I've got my 9 Vegas. These two are water cooled on this end, so they're not bugging each other smashed together like that. But these guys, they're still getting nice cold air. It's coming from the back, but they're absolutely cranking out heat. And I'm trying to figure out a good way to actually contain this heat and get it pumped up into that right there. Actually, at one point in time, I had a 6-inch AC Infinity fan blowing into this ductwork, but that only fed the downstairs bathroom, kitchen, and maybe one other room. It wasn't nearly enough, but it did a good job heating those rooms. The rest of the house, so this is for the south wing, and this one feeds the upstairs bedrooms, and there's no way to really pipe anything into there at this split. It's just chaos. So my best option is to pull through the return duct and then use the furnace fan to push the air up to those other portions of the house. So how do I get the heat from the basement upstairs? Well, I've got a couple ideas. I'll show you. Hey, it's Miss Wisconsin. Hey, Stardust. Okay, first idea, bigger tent, obviously. I've got a bigger shelf coming. This is a 4x4 by 6.5 tent, and then I've got a 6-foot shelf. So I'll be able to actually get all my rigs put onto shelving again. Bigger tent, bigger fan, 8-inch fan. That'll actually pull the heat on the hot side into that duct right there. So that'll work nice. And then I think I'm going to take my 6-inch fan, hook it back up to the outside, and have it blowing air in the tent. But a couple of issues. So at one point, and that was during this winter, I took this tent and flipped it around so it was actually catching the hot air, and I was trying to pipe that up into the ventilation as well with my 6-inch fan, and it wasn't keeping up. The air would actually come this direction, hit the tent, not enough of it would get sucked out, and then it'd blow right back and circle back around, and it would overheat the cards on the outside edge. Also, when I've had this tent zipped up before I had the Vegas, it would, I think, have a similar effect. Once the tent was zipped up, there was not enough air getting sucked out of it. And it would do the same thing. I'm pretty sure it would just blow on the inside of the tent, get circled back around, it would get reconsumed by the cards. Some of the cards would run hot, especially the ones on the outside. The ones in the middle would run fine because my best attempts at directing the air to try to spread it around the cards were not enough. The air was too concentrated coming out of the tubes. I've tried splitting the tubes into dual 4-inch, etc., and trying to get the cold air more evenly across the cards. So at some level it was better, but it was still not enough. So that leads me to my next idea, and I'll show you that in a second. So I built this contraption out of PVC. Call it the air wall. 6-inch fan splits into two 4-inch tubes, then feeds down either side. And then I did the math on this. I have enough 1.25-inch holes to equal essentially the cross section, or I guess you would look at it as surface area of a circle of a 6-inch fan. So I shouldn't be slowing it down too much. I realize there's probably some restriction in there, but I am 3 feet back from this. It's blowing out a beautiful wall. I've got, as you can see, some are kind of angled down, some are angled up a little bit, some are straight ahead, and it's a wall of air. It's perfect. I'm going to drop this in the new tent. That's going to get fed the outside air from that window. It's going to move across the cards, and then on the opposite side, on the exhaust side of the cards, I will have, in theory, low pressure 8-inch fan sucking the hot air out, popping it up into the ventilation, and then when the summertime comes around, I'll be able to just turn that 8-inch fan back around. I'll have another hole on that window, or perhaps even on the one behind me. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but it's critical for me to get the heat pumped out of here too. I was mining last summer, and what a nightmare. AC couldn't keep up in the house. I even upgraded it. It was not enough. And then one more thing I'm going to show you here. Turn the fan down a little bit so you can hear me. I think what I'll do in the winter time, because it is still February in Wisconsin, is put a damper or a flow control, something at the window, so I can actually take air from the basement into the back of the tent instead of it always sucking in cold air. I can control some of that with the fan speed on the 6-inch fan, and even just have it at an idle so it's just trickling in cold air. But I think when it's sub-zero, it's going to be pretty dang cold, and it may not get warmed up enough by the rigs, and I might be pushing cold air into the house. So we'll see how that all goes. I'll see if I can do it with fan control first, but I'm thinking to have some sort of a splitter so I can decide where I'm taking the air from. Because the basement, if it's not dumping heat from these rigs right into the basement, and it's actually contained in the tent, it's pretty cold down here. So that might be an option for sucking in air, but I know definitely in the summer I'm going to want air in, air out as fast as possible. I've tried all kinds of experiments with AC, stuffing AC units in the tent, having them vent out the window, etc. It's a nightmare to try to AC your rigs, and I found it was almost as effective just to have lots and lots of air moving across them. Unfortunately, this operation is bigger than it was then. Was still able to zip up my tent, so that's where I'm at now. Make everything a little bit bigger, hopefully more efficient, and I'll update you once I got the tent set up. I'll probably stick the air wall in there, get the exhaust fan set up, and then just stand in there before I even put in the rigs, because I have a theory that having the low pressure from the exhaust fan on the hot side will actually help draw even more air out of these. And I just want to check that out before I actually set up the shelving, get my PDU in there, and the 240 all hooked up. I'm already running off 240. I kicked the dryer out of here and I stole the electricity and running a meter there. So, and yeah, it's a disaster too. So that'll give me a chance to get some of this crap moved around, get that shelf stuffed with these boxes, get everything moved back around, get the dryer put back in place. I have an upstairs washer and dryer as well. I don't have to use the dungeon, but I like having a second washer and dryer down here so that I can, if I'm doing bedding and stuff like that. Anyways, I'm rambling. You'll see the finished product. I will keep you guys updated, and we'll just see how it goes. So stay tuned. Thanks a lot. And one more quick thing I thought I'd show you is the office. Oh, I'll show you this rig too. Here, this is these are 5/1660 non-super, non-TI. Little extra air getting blown in there. I've got the cover off of this. This is a 5700 XT inside the case. I generally just use this as a office heater. I'll probably have to figure something else out in the summer. But anyways, yeah, so here's my temps, and I'm happy with these. Looks like I've had a couple invalids too. I just pulled this up. So these are the 580s. They're all running 65 degrees at decently low fan speed. These guys need to get repasted. I'm going to do that a little later. But yeah, I've got these set up. They just run 65. They're more stable at 65 than they are fluctuating temperature, so I just leave them there. They're happiest there. These are the 1660 Supers. These are actually a little bit warm. I like to see these guys right at about 50. Even in the summer, they barely get this hot. So that is one efficient case there. The Vegas, they're kind of all over the place. The two liquid cooleds, usually I see those in the wintertime at about 45 degrees. So, but this is all great. This is fine. So I just want to see the difference when I actually go to the new setup, how much it changes. These are my 3060 Ti's, 3070s, and my 13080, and they're all doing great. They're in the 40s. So we'll check it out. We'll see how much that changes, how much I can actually... And I stopped recording, but you get the idea. Baseline temps. We'll check everything out once it's set up, see how much it changes, how much I can actually control the heat of the cards and the heat going into the house, and it should be fun. So stay tuned. I got that coming next. Thanks. Okay guys, that's going to be it for this video. It ran long. I do have the tent set up. I have everything up and running. I finally got the dungeon cleaned out. It's almost looks like a proper basement. So more to come. I think for now we're just going to call it, and I'll get my footage compiled and I'll give you a video showing you how everything's working, and maybe even some of the process of getting it all set up. So stick around. That's coming up, and I hope to see you guys soon.